You know, we all struggle with self-doubt from time to time. It's that like nagging feeling that we're not good enough or smart enough or brave enough to really go after what we want.
Mm,
And, you requested this deep dive because you're ready to finally tackle this thing head on.
yeah.
And luckily for you, we found this amazing video that's just packed with practical strategies to build real lasting confidence.
Awesome.
You ready to dive in?
Let's do it.
Okay, so one of the things that really caught my eye in this video was this idea that self-doubt is actually like a survival mechanism.
It is.
Yeah.
It presents self-doubt as this like primal inner voice, you know?
Yeah.
And what's so fascinating is how it connects that voice to fear, like fear of failure,
Right.
fear of judgment, even
Yeah.
sometimes fear of success,
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
and these fears are like deeply ingrained in us.
I can definitely see that. I mean, it makes sense that our brains would try to protect us from potential pain,
All
right?
right.
But sometimes that protection can kind of backfire and keep us stuck.
Exactly. That's where things get really interesting because, our brains, they're wired to avoid risk.
Yeah.
So this inner voice kind of steps in, often disguised as self-doubt.
Interesting.
The key here is to understand that self-doubt is often just fear in disguise.
So how do we like outsmart our own brains? The video lays out this 5-step plan to actually rewire our thinking, right?
It does.
Yeah.
And the first step might sound obvious, but is absolutely crucial.
Huh.
We have to identify the root cause of our self-doubt.
Okay.
So the source suggests journaling or introspection to really dig deep. Like, where is this doubt coming from? Is it a past experience? Is it something somebody said? Or even like societal expectations that have kind of seeped into your subconscious?
Yeah, journaling is such a powerful tool. I've found that just getting those thoughts out of my head and onto paper can help me to see them more clearly.
Absolutely.
It's like taking inventory of your insecurities.
It is.
Yeah.
And once you've identified the source, you
Mhm.
can start to challenge those negative thought patterns.
Yeah.
This is where we get into the realm of like cognitive behavioral therapy
Yeah.
or CBT.
Right.
The video suggests replacing those negative thoughts
Yeah.
with positive affirmations,
Right.
like, I am capable.
Some people might roll their eyes at affirmations,
Oh, yeah.
but I've actually heard that they can be really effective.
Yeah.
It's like rewiring your neural pathways to focus on the positive.
It is a form of rewiring.
Yeah.
You're actively choosing to focus on a more empowering perspective,
Mhm.
which is incredibly important for building confidence.
Mm.
And that leads us to the next step, taking action.
All right, let's talk action. This is where things get real, right?
Exactly. The video emphasizes that confidence is built through action, even tiny steps outside of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important to distinguish between like two types of action here.
Okay.
You know,
Oh,
there's comfort zone expansion, like speaking up at a meeting or trying a new hobby.
right.
And then there's goal-oriented action, like taking a course to learn a new skill.
That's an interesting distinction. It's like we need to flex different confidence muscles depending on the situation.
Precisely. And the video highlights a crucial point. Small wins build momentum.
Okay.
Each step you take, no matter how small, reinforces your belief in yourself.
So we've identified the root, challenged the negative thoughts, and started taking action. What's next?
Step 4 focuses on your environment.
Okay.
The video emphasizes surrounding yourself with positivity.
I like that.
Think about it. Our brains are wired to mirror the behavior of those around us. It's called the mirror neuron system.
That makes total sense. Some people find social media to be a real drain, while others find it to be incredibly supportive. I wonder if it just depends on who you follow and what kind of content you engage with.
That's a great point. The key is to be mindful of the information you consume and the people you surround yourself with.
Mm-hmm.
Cultivate relationships that lift you up and limit exposure to negativity, whether that's from certain individuals or even from the media you consume. Essentially, you're creating an ecosystem that fosters growth and self-belief.
An ecosystem for your mind. I like that.
Yeah.
That brings us to the final step in the video's framework, celebrating your wins.
Yes. Acknowledge and celebrate every victory, no matter how small.
Okay.
Finished a challenging project? Celebrate it. Stuck with your workout routine? Celebrate it.
I like it.
It's all about reinforcing a positive self-image. This is something we often overlook in our, achievement-oriented society.
It's so true. We're constantly striving for the next big thing that we forget to pause and appreciate how far we've come.
And the video illustrates all of these steps with a really compelling story about someone named Sarah.
Oh, I love a good success story. Tell me about Sarah.
Well, she was struggling with self-doubt, especially when it came to her career. She had her sights set on this dream job, but she was terrified to even apply.
Oh, absolutely. We've all been there at some point. That fear of rejection can be paralyzing.
Yeah.
So what happened with Sarah?
Well, instead of letting fear hold her back, she decided to put these 5 steps into action.
Okay.
She started by identifying the root of her self-doubt, a fear of not being good enough. Then she challenged that fear by making a list of all of her skills and accomplishments.
I love that. It's like holding up a mirror to those negative thoughts and saying, nope, I am capable.
Yeah,
It's interesting because earlier we were talking about challenging negative thoughts and using affirmations, and making a list like that is such a tangible way to do that.
it is. And then she took the bravest step of all. She applied for the job. And
Oh.
guess what?
Don't keep me in suspense. Did she get it?
She did.
Yay.
And the video uses her story as a perfect example of how taking action, even when it's scary, can lead to amazing results.
Her story is so inspiring. It really shows that we have more control over our self-doubt than we think.
Absolutely. But the video doesn't stop there. It goes on to provide some additional tools and resources that can help you, build confidence. Things like books, apps, and even visualization techniques.
Oh, visualization is such a powerful tool. I've heard it said that our brains can't always distinguish between something we've vividly imagined and something we've actually experienced.
It's true. Visualization is like a mental rehearsal for success, and it can have a profound impact on our confidence.
I'm definitely intrigued. So, what specific resources does the video recommend?
Okay, so we've covered like a lot of ground already.
Yeah.
Identifying the roots of self-doubt, challenging those negative thoughts, the power of taking action, curating our environment, and celebrating our wins.
Right.
It's amazing how many like different angles there are to approaching this whole thing.
Hit it.
But before we move on to those extra resources that the video mentioned, I'm curious, did the video have like a specific call to action for us?
It did, and it's a simple one, but it's so powerful. It asks, what's one small step you'll take today to overcome self-doubt?
Okay.
And it really emphasizes that, it's not about making some like huge sweeping change.
Right.
It's about those small, consistent actions that over time add up to like significant transformation. That's such a good point. It's so easy to get overwhelmed by the big picture.
Yeah.
But when we break things down into manageable steps, it feels so much more achievable.
Yeah.
And I think that's key when it comes to building confidence. It's not about perfection, it's about progress.
Exactly. And speaking of those manageable steps, let's dive into those additional resources.
Okay.
For those of you who love to like curl up with a good book, the video recommends The Confidence Code by Katty Kay and Claire Shipman. It's a fascinating deep dive into like the science behind confidence and how to cultivate it.
Oh, I've heard great things about that book. It's on my reading list. But what about those of us who are more like digitally inclined?
Right.
Any app recommendations?
There are. The video suggests two that I think are like really relevant to what we've been talking about. First, there's Headspace, which is great for like mindfulness and meditation.
Yeah.
Learning to quiet the mind and be present in the moment can be so helpful for managing stress and anxiety, which often go hand in hand with self-doubt.
Oh, absolutely. Meditation has been a game changer for me. It's helped me to develop a sense of inner peace and resilience that I didn't even know I had.
Wow.
What's the other app recommendation?
It's called Shine, and it offers daily affirmations and motivational content.
Okay.
It's like having a little pocket coach to cheer you on throughout the day.
I love that. It's like a constant reminder to be kind to yourself and to focus on the positive. It's so easy to get caught up in the negative self-talk, so having those little nudges throughout the day can make a huge difference.
I think so too. And what's really cool is that the video also suggests a simple daily practice that doesn't require any apps or books.
Yeah.
Spending just 5 minutes visualizing yourself succeeding.
Visualization is so powerful. I'm a big believer in the law of attraction and the idea that like our thoughts create our reality. And visualization is such an effective way to tap into that power.
It is. It's like creating a mental blueprint for success. By repeatedly visualizing ourselves achieving our goals, we're actually training our brains to believe it's possible, which then makes us more likely take the actions necessary to make it happen.
As we're talking about all of this, it strikes me that confidence is kind of like a muscle.
Uh-huh.
The more we use it, the stronger it gets.
That's a great analogy. And just like with physical exercise, consistency is key.
Right.
It's about making those small efforts every day, whether it's practicing affirmations, taking a step outside our comfort zones, or simply being mindful of the thoughts we allow to take root in our minds.
And I think that's one of the most valuable takeaways from this deep dive so far.
Yeah.
Building confidence is an ongoing process. It's not about reaching some magical destination where we suddenly become immune to self-doubt.
Right.
It's about learning to navigate those doubts, to reframe them, and to keep moving forward despite them.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to acknowledge that it's okay to have moments of self-doubt,
Right.
moments of fear, moments of uncertainty. Those are all part of the human experience. It's what we do with those moments that matters.
That's so true. It's not about denying our humanness. It's about embracing it and then choosing to rise above those limitations.
Exactly. And, as we're wrapping up this part of our discussion, I'm curious to hear what's resonating most with you. What's one nugget of wisdom that you'll be taking away from this deep dive?
That's a great question. I think what stands out to me most is the reminder that confidence isn't something we're born with.
Right.
It's something we cultivate. It's a skill we can develop just like any other. And the beautiful thing is the tools and resources are available to all of us. We just have to choose to use them.
That's such an empowering message. And, it reminds me of something that wasn't explicitly mentioned in the video, but that I've found to be incredibly true in my own life. Confidence is contagious.
Oh, I
Well,
love that. Tell me more about that. Contagious confidence. What do you mean by that?
just think about it. When you see someone else radiating confidence, doesn't it make you feel a little more confident yourself?
Yeah.
Like if they can do it, maybe I can too.
Hmm.
It's almost as if their self-belief rubs off on you.
Now that you mention it, I can definitely think of times when that's happened. It's like someone else's confidence gives you permission to believe in yourself a little bit more.
Exactly. And I think that's such an important thing to remember, especially when we're feeling like bogged down by self-doubt.
Right.
We're not alone in this journey.
Mm-hmm.
There are people all around us who have faced similar challenges and come out stronger on the other side.
Yeah.
And their stories can be incredibly inspiring and empowering.
That's so true. It's like a ripple effect.
Yeah,
One person's confidence can create a wave that lifts others up. And that makes me think about Sarah's story again. How her decision to overcome her fear and go for her dream job could inspire countless others to do the same.
it's amazing, isn't it, how one person's courage can have such a profound impact on the world around them. And I think that's something we can all do, whether it's through sharing our own stories of resilience, or celebrating each other's wins, or simply offering words of encouragement and support.
This whole idea of contagious confidence is really making me think differently about self-doubt.
Yeah.
What if, instead of seeing it as a weakness, we viewed it as a sign that we're stretching ourselves, that we're pushing beyond our comfort zones and reaching for something more?
Wow, I love that reframe. It completely shifts the perspective from fear to possibility.
Yeah.
It's like saying, hey, I'm feeling some self-doubt here, which means I'm on the right track. I'm growing, I'm evolving, I'm challenging myself.
Exactly. And I think that's a powerful message to take away from this deep dive. Self-doubt doesn't have to be the enemy. It can actually be a catalyst for growth, a sign that we're on the path to becoming the best versions of ourselves.
So well said. It's all about how we choose to interpret those feelings and what we do with them. Do we let them paralyze us, or do we use them as fuel to propel us forward?
As we're wrapping up here, I'm struck by how much we've covered in this deep dive. We've talked about the root causes of self-doubt, practical strategies for overcoming it, the importance of environment, the power of celebration, and even the contagious nature of confidence.
It's been quite a journey, hasn't it? And I think the beauty of it is that these insights can be applied to so many different areas of our lives, whether it's our careers, relationships, creative pursuits, or simply our overall sense of well-being.
Absolutely. And ultimately, I think it comes down to this. We all have the potential to live confident, fulfilling lives, but it's a choice we have to make every single day. It's a choice to challenge those negative thoughts, to step outside our comfort zones, to surround ourselves with positivity, and to celebrate every win along the way.
Couldn't agree more. And on that note, I think it's time to pass the mic back to our amazing listener.
Yes, we'd love to hear from you. What resonated with you the most from today's deep dive? What small, brave action will you take today to overcome self-doubt and step closer to your dreams? Share your insights and your commitment to action in the comments below. And remember, you are capable of amazing things. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.